The bell is tolling for Biden and Harris as Democrats prepare to get rid of them both. In this video, we're going to take a look at a number of articles in the mainstream media that are openly talking about getting rid of both Biden and Harris. We're going to take a look at the imploding poll numbers that's driving this panic among Democrats, and stick with me to the very end of this video when I'll reveal, it's all too little too late. The day of reckoning for the Democrats is indeed at hand. You are not going to want to miss this. Greetings, everyone. Dr. Steve here with you. Great to be with you. As always, a Merry Christmas to everyone out there. I'm your daily fake news antidote. As each and every day I provide patriotic analysis to help you to think better so you can feel better in these crazy and turbulent times. So if you've already done so, you know what to do. Make sure to smack that bell and subscribe. But before we begin, gang, we're almost there. Christmas is upon us, and you have to get one of our amazing t-shirts for the Patriots in your life. We got the best designs in the world, like our latest Let's Go Brandon t-shirts. Your friends are going to love it. So make sure to click on the link below. Get your Patriot merch today. Just got a couple of days left to get one of these designs that are the perfect Christmas gift for the Patriots in your life. So don't wait. Click on that link in the description below to both support me and spread Patriot hope. And let's make this the most patriotic Christmas ever. All right, gang, let's dive right in here. I don't think any of us really grasp just how bad things are for the Democrats right now. And I mean that, okay? That's not just hyperbole. We go about our day knowing that things are horrible for our nation, right? We know things are bad for our economy, our border, our rotting Democrat-run cities, our schools, which are turning into Marxist ideological factories. We know things are bad for our country. But do we really grasp just how bad things are for the Democrats right now as we speak? Now, let me ask you, when was the last time a political party and their shameless surrogates in the mainstream media were actively attempting to get rid of both their president and their vice president? That's how bad it is for the Democrats right now. That's exactly what's going on right now as we speak. The Federalist had a great piece the other day on Democrats actively moving to officially dump Biden ahead of the 2024 presidential election. This is no surprise. The piece pointed to the astonishingly audacious call, a very public call by Bret Stephens over at the New York Times, for Biden to announce that he will not seek the nomination in 2024. It was in many respects a rather brazen piece and went so far as to openly question Biden's cognitive health. Again, let that hit you. This is the New York Times now questioning Biden's cognitive health. And that everyone is noticing this, since we see it in his imploding poll numbers. And so the only way out for the Democrats is for Biden to make it official that he's just a transition figure to rescue the country from the evil Donald Trump and hand it over to far more competent and idealistic Democrats. Now, the argument, of course, is that were Biden to announce that he's not running for re-election, that would immediately turn him into a lame duck. But Bret Stephens points out, and I think rather interestingly, that right now Biden is infinitely worse than a lame duck. At least if he announced he wasn't running again, that would hopefully ignite the candidacies of other Democrats who can inspire voters once again. And of course, the $10,000 question is, now that the Democrat hoax over bumbling Biden has been so obviously exposed to the American voting population, why would they trust anything to the Democrats at this point? Why would rural America, or even most of suburban America, want anything to do with the party of record inflation, open borders, CRT, endless COVID mandates? Let's just say the New York Times has yet to answer that question. And that's precisely what this federal piece asks and answers. Whether they like it or not, the Democrats are stuck with Biden. Keep in mind, we had the likes of the Washington Post promising us that Biden was a beacon of vitality and energy, and that we need to get over our stigma against older Americans serving as president. They actually said that in 2020. Getting rid of Biden physically, however, is not going to get rid of him relationally. The Democrats and their surrogates in the mainstream media have been caught. They've been exposed peddling a lie on the American people, and now they have to answer for it. But don't tell the Democrats that. Nope, the problem is Trump, or the unvaccinated, or more recently, Joe Manchin. And so the Democrats are increasingly convinced that all they have to do is dump Biden and all their problems in effect go away. Oh, except for one, And that, of course, is Kamala Harris. According to the latest USA Today poll, Kamala Harris's approval rating is an utterly abysmal 28%. Again, even the New York Times is admitting that she's the single most unpopular vice president in recent memory. And so, what are the Democrats doing in response? Well, they're actively plotting how they can get rid of her, too. I mean, this, for me, in many respects, explains why Harris is getting sidelined so much by Biden's people. It may, in the end, turn out to be sort of a preemptive strike, as it were, to basically get rid of Harris. I did a video last week on how CNN, of all places, CNN, the most distrusted name in fake news, how they're now openly talking about potential Democrat replacements for Joe Biden in 2024, and Kamala is just one of 11 that they proposed. The proverbial knives are coming out for Kamala, and more pundits are recognizing that as unpopular as Biden is, Kamala is even more so. The latest TIPP poll found that only 22% of respondents said that they wanted Biden to run for a second term, but only 12% wanted Kamala in 2024. Sleepy Joe and Kamala combined don't even break 35% support. And so if the Democrats are going to try to pivot from their current abysmal unpopularity by getting rid of Biden, well, then they're finding that the same has to be true for Cackle's Kamala as well. But again, the key here is that all this Game of Thrones maneuvering by the Democrats really is, in the end, it's an admission. It's a very embarrassing and rather humiliating admission. It's an admission that the hoax they tried to pull off on the American people, the hoax of a competent and responsible executive in the guise of a feeble and incontinent old man, that hoax, aided and abetted by the mainstream media, has unraveled before the eyes of the entire nation, indeed before the entire world. Keep in mind, the international media is beginning to openly talk about Biden's obvious cognitive decline. This isn't a matter simply the Biden hoax unraveling in front of a nation. This, like the whole Russia collusion farce, again, that was openly propagated by the mainstream Marxist corporate media. This hoax is unraveling before the eyes of the entire world. And the Democrats are increasingly being seen as a radically deceptive political party. The Democrats, as well as their shameless surrogates in the mainstream media. I mean, seriously, think about it. What a butt of a joke CNN has become. The entire network. How do you seriously employ someone like Jeffrey Toobin after he exposed himself on a Zoom call? How do you take a ridiculous moron like that seriously? How do you take a race-baiting, borderline illiterate like Don Lemon seriously? Well, the answer is very few people do. Again, according to Nielsen, CNN's ratings dropped an astonishing 77% from 1 year ago at this time. CNN viewership has dropped nearly 80% over the course of this year. And just to drive the point home of how preposterous CNN has become, look at their press release that just came out yesterday. CNN has second most watched year ever in 2021. And so that's why CNN boss Jeff Zucker looks like he may be on his way out. I mean, it all seems so clear now. Thank you, CNN, the most distrusted name in fake news. I mean, the mainstream media and the Democratic Party combined forces to get rid of President Trump and put in, as it turns out, a cognitively degenerate shell who's quickly overseeing one of the most dramatic economic, cultural, and political implosions our nation has witnessed in recent history. The Democrats know that the upcoming midterms are increasingly becoming their day of reckoning for such a hoax, and they're doing everything they possibly can to distance themselves from it. But it's all too little too late. The Democrats own Biden and Kamala, and the political consequences for such ownership are growing more and more dire every single day. Now, before you go, you will definitely want to check out my latest video on a recent study that shows that 56% of white liberal women actually have a mental disorder. I kid you not. It's going to absolutely make your day. So make sure to click on the link and I'll see you over there. God bless.